In the ancient village of Nobi, surrounded by thick, whispering forests, a girl was born under a strange moon. Her name was Nikem. From the moment she opened her eyes, the village knew something was wrong. The midwife screamed and dropped her. The child had no shadow. No matter the sun's angle or the lantern's light, the space beneath Nikem's feet was always empty. The elders gathered. The priest threw cowries and shook his head. A child without a shadow does not belong to this world, he warned. And so, Nikem grew up in isolation. She was not cursed, but she was feared. The other children ran from her. The mothers crossed themselves when she passed. She was never called to dance, never invited to play. She watched life from the edges of it. But Nikem was strong. Quiet, but watching. Lonely, but curious. She often wandered alone into the forest, where the trees did not care whether or not she cast a shadow. It was in that forest on the eve of her 13th birthday that everything changed. That day, she ran deeper than she ever had before. She was tired of the stares, the whispers, the loneliness, tired of being treated like a ghost. And then she heard singing. Soft, slow, haunting. She followed the sound to a clearing. There, standing barefoot on a rock, was a woman in black. Her skin was pale, her eyes glowing faintly yellow. "You've come far, shadowless one," the woman said without turning. Nikem's heart froze. "Who are you?" "A collector," the woman whispered. "A giver." "A taker." Nikem stepped closer. "Can you give me a shadow?" The woman turned. Her smile was unsettling. "Yes, but shadows are not gifts. They are burdens. You must carry one. And feed it." "Feed it?" Nikem asked. The woman reached into her robe and pulled out a tiny dark bottle. Inside, something swirled like smoke. This belonged to a fallen king. He cast a mighty shadow. Too mighty. Now it waits for a new master. Nikem hesitated. "Drink it," the woman whispered. "But remember, never let it touch the sun." Nikem drank. The next morning, for the first time in her life, Nikem walked out into the village. And people stared, not because she was cursed, but because she was radiant. The shadow beneath her feet was long, regal, commanding. The other girls watched in jealousy. The boys couldn't look away. Even the prince noticed her when she passed. From that day, Nikem's life changed. She was no longer feared, she was admired. But then, the village began to suffer. The goats gave birth to stillborn kids. The yams rotted early. The river ran dark with no reason. Children fell sick and spoke in tongues. The priest returned to his shrine and threw his cowries again. "Someone walks with a stolen shadow," he said. "A shadow too large, too heavy, and it is angry." The villagers grew restless. Yet Nem shone brighter than ever. She wore beads and coral. She danced like moonlight on water. And when the prince proposed to her, the entire village rejoiced. Except the priest. "If she marries," he warned the king, "the kingdom will fall." But the king laughed. "If she is cursed, let the sun expose her. We will test her under the noonday sun." The night before the test, Njim returned to the forest in a panic. The witch was waiting. "I warned you," she said, still smiling. "Shadows are hungry. They grow when fed praise. Yours is too fat now. It will not hide." Nikem begged, cried, but the witch only said, "Only one thing can stop a growing shadow, a soul." The next day, the festival was held. Drums echoed across the hills. The entire village gathered. Nikem stepped into the arena, her shadow following like a king behind her. Then, the sun reached its peak, and Nenki's shadow moved. It twisted, grew, stretched across the ground like a dark tide. It rose from the earth and took form taller than a palm tree, with horns like fire and eyes like moons. It was no longer her shadow. It was the soul of the dead king she had borrowed. And it was furious. The people screamed. The guards ran. The sky darkened. The shadow spoke in a voice like thunder. You wore me like a garment. Now wear my rage. It began to destroy. The prince cried out for Nkem, but she was already gone, running back toward the forest, toward the witch, toward her end. She found the woman waiting beside the same rock. Help me, Nkem shouted. Take it back. The witch only tilted her head. Feed it or become its meal. Nkem looked back, her shadow was coming. And so, without another word, she turned to face it. And she offered herself. The shadow consumed her in a flash of dark light. Then it collapsed into smoke and vanished. The skies cleared. The river flowed again. The yams returned to life. The village was saved. But Negim was gone. Today, in the heart of that same forest, there is a tree with silver bark, and no shadow, no matter how bright the sun burns above it. And when the wind passes through the leaves, it whispers a name. Nkem, the girl who ate a shadow and became one.